Hello! I'm making a video in my kitchen. So it's been a long time. I wanted to talk about the obsession that we have with Outlander, the TV show, and the books per se, but especially the TV show. Because it is really frustrating to be obsessed with something and not being able to get it out of your head, you know, and it has happened to so many people I see online. I'm not as obsessed as I used to be. I must say that. I used to be way more obsessed than I am now. But it happens to a lot of people. That's what I know. You know, some people get very sad. They get depressed after they finish watching a season. You know, there are only 2 seasons, but still, I did get very upset, very depressed when I finished watching season 2. Like, oh, season 1 especially. Like, oh my God, what am I gonna do now? I need to know what happens. So I went and got the books and read them all. Yeah. It helped with the obsession that one would think, you know, that feeding on it, you're gonna get tired of it, but it wasn't exactly like that. So I have a little theory on why it's so obsessible. Not because of the good acting, the beautiful scenery, the picture is so gorgeous, you know. It's not only that. I believe there are deeper reasons why we are attracted to it the way we are. And it's what I call the Little Mermaid theory. Go ahead, I know, you know, you can make fun of me. I know it sounds funny. It sounds a little ridiculous even, you know, so what the hell? I'm putting myself out there on the internet, making a video in my kitchen. So yes, maybe there will be some comments of like, oh, this is ridiculous. It's fine. I'm okay with that. So when I was a little girl, I watched The Little Mermaid like 10 times. It was so obsessible. I was hypnotized by it. And I wrote poems about it, and I drew pictures of a mermaid, you know, and the whole idea of this prince called Eric and this girl, red-headed girl, of course, with gorgeous hair, just falling in love, and, you know, the impossibility of it. The improbability of it was so fascinating. And that's where I want to get. That's where I want to get to. It's impossible. Come on. She's a freaking fish. How can she fall in love with a human being? And imagine that that's even going to work. You know, it's like a fish and a bird may fall in love, but where are they going to live? And it's the improbability of it. But the realization of this dream on screen that makes it so fascinating and so obsessible. And we can actually experience that through something called catharsis. You know, you feel as if you were in the character's shoes, but you're not. You don't have to deal with the consequences of it, you know. For instance, let's bring it back to Outlander. Had I traveled through time, touching standing stones, and found myself in the 18th century, I would be terrified, you know. I would have a panic attack, and I would need like to pop Xanax that was like no tomorrow, because it's terrifying. But I can enjoy the experience through Claire's eyes. You know, I don't have to deal with the whole anxiety of it. I can be apprehensive for her. I can suffer with her. I can follow her journey, but I don't have to suffer the actual consequences of really traveling through time, you know, which nobody has proven that's actually possible, although, you know, some theories behind it. Nevertheless, I believe it is in the improbability of it, you know, of this woman from the 1940s, going through time, and the fact that she's put in a position where she has almost no choice. She falls in love with this Scottish warrior. This is fascinating, and we can actually experience that. And had these people, no, let me change the way I did the sentence. These people would never meet, okay? James Alexander, Malcolm Mackenzie Fraser, and Claire Elizabeth Beecham Randall. They would never meet in real life. Even if she hadn't married Frank, they would never have the opportunity to meet each other. And how do people meet nowadays? How do people become a couple? Most people will become a couple, will meet someone within their city, maybe their state or province or something like that. They're not going to go very far to meet someone. Most people, I'm talking about, the majority of the 6 billion inhabitants of this earth. And then, of course, you have people who travel more, who have the opportunity to go to different countries, and who might, meet a foreigner, meet someone whom they wouldn't meet had they not been traveling the world or something like that. But most people will be born, grow, age, and die within, 20, 30 kilometers of where they were born. Maybe, 100, 200 kilometers of where they were born. So the idea, of these two people meeting because she went back in time is fascinating. It's something that could never be. And that's why it's so obsessable, because you watch the show and wow, it happened. And it actually makes it believable within that scope. Once you turn off the TV, you know that that's not possible. And that's what Ron Moore, the producer, said, that he wanted us to really believe that that was happening to that woman. And we did, theoretically, of course. I don't actually believe that people can travel through time. So going back to The Little Mermaid, that was the first, motion picture, whatever you call it. It was a cartoon that really fascinated me because of the impossibility of it. And it was just irresistible, And of course, the other aspect is the sacrifice. You always lose something. You have to give up something. In case of Ariel, she had to give up her family because, her father, her sisters, her friends all lived under the sea. Under the sea. And it was okay that I'm going to have to edit that. They lived under the sea, and she couldn't just go live happily ever after with Prince Eric and still, live with her family. And in Claire's case, whatever choice she takes will lead to abandoning one aspect of her life, huge, important aspects of her life. And that is also something that is fascinating, that she has to make a choice and abandon one of her lives, two lives that they're never going to be reconciled. And that is another aspect that makes it fascinating and ultimately obsessable, that we can go through that experience with her and not suffer, because not us, it's not you or me who is having to make that decision, but we can be empathetic and, we can empathize. Oh gosh, yes. Never mind. I'm in ESL, English speaker, so, we can empathize. God, I can do this word. We can have empathy towards her, and experience that through the lens. So that is why I think it is so obsessable and fascinating, and, it was really something that got a lot of people, obsessed and wasting their time and doing something else. Like me, for example, now talking on YouTube about a TV show. This is a little embarrassing, but I'm gonna go through it. Even to see if I can get de-obsessed and get this obsession out of my system. You know, like, get off. I have things to do. I have a business to run, for God's sake. So that was it. That was what I wanted to say. And do you have any other ideas why Outlander is so obsessable? Or do you want to share? Oh yeah, no, I'm not even. I mean, I didn't even get started on, you know, like Sam Heughan and being like, oh my God, he's so handsome. You know, yeah, don't get me started on that. You know, because that's one aspect of, at least for the female public, right? It's one aspect of it. Besides the chemistry between the lead role characters and all the adventures and Scotland and everything else. Yes, that's all I had to say about it. You know, for a long time I didn't know anyone who watched. I didn't know anyone in person who watched Outlander because it took a long time for it to make it to Brazil. It was available on Fox Plus, which is a paid channel, and it's like a premium channel. So even people who had cable, they wouldn't have access to it. And then finally, it came on Netflix, and it just exploded. I'm telling you, literally. And I became a contributor to this Outlander group on Facebook. Page and group on Facebook, because there's so many Brazilian fans, you know, like going crazy about it. And it's very funny to see the messages when a new member joins our group and they go, I just finished season 1 and I'm in tears, and how can I watch season 2? Like, it's not available on Netflix. Or someone who just read, you know, the first or the second book. But usually, yeah, or the biggest reaction is really when they watch the end of season 2 and they are in tears and like, how am I going to survive until next year? And we laugh because we all, you know, the admins, the moderators, and the people who have been in the group for longer all went through that, you know. And so it's been definitely a lot of fun contributing to the translations. You know, we have some girls who do the subtitles for all the interviews that are available online, and obviously we have a huge group of fans who do not speak English. Yeah, which says a lot about what I do for a living. You know, I'm an English language teacher. I teach English as a foreign language here, and yeah, it's the country that forgot English, basically. We're trying to improve that. So another aspect that I forgot to talk about, how obsessable Outlander is, at least for me as English as a second language speaker, is the accent aspect, you know, and learning new expressions, new words, and the whole Scottish accent. You know, I always thought the British accent was the most beautiful, the sexiest accent out there. Definitely, you know, standard British English. Until, of course, Outlander. Oh my gosh, it is so cute, you know. And I'm not going to attempt to imitate it, because every time I try a different accent other than my own as a Brazilian speaking English as a second language, every time I attempt a different accent, you know, my husband, who, by the way, is a native English speaker, he's from Canada, he says, you know, stop, Ivana, you sound like an Indian, you know, from India. Although I'm pretty sure that would be an insult for the Indians from India. So I'm not going to try to say, but we do joke around a lot between the girls of, you know, like the wee lad and lass and didn't fash yourself and all these other awesome expressions. And of course, the difficulty in translating them, you know, into Portuguese is insane. You cannot reproduce the nuances at all. So we try as best as we can and help our fellow Brazilians who do not speak English to have a good time and enjoy everything. We follow everything on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and then post all the news to the group, and it's been it's been very fun, and we made a lot of friends. And I'm very excited to get my Funkos. Is it how you say it? Funko or Funko? Funko? Definitely not an English word. But my husband hasn't promised me he's going to get them for me. He's in Canada right now, and he's going to come back in a few days. And I said, really, really get me the Funkos, please, Jamie and Claire. I just want them here, you know. And that is also very embarrassing, you know, because I had never had this experience before of, you know, I'm an adult woman, and I'm asking to buy dolls. I have no comments about it. It's embarrassing, but I will have them, and I will put them on the beach. Beautiful white sandy beach we have with the turquoise green Atlantic Ocean, and I'll take pictures, and then I'm gonna post them on Twitter and tag Sam and Katrina and hope that they like my post. That is also embarrassing. Okay, I have a lot of editing to do. As minhas amigas brasileiras, beijão pra vocês. Pessoal de Portugal! E as brasileiras que tiveram a sorte de encontrar a Katrina e o Sam e também a Diana Gabaldon e pegar um autógrafo assim. I'm your fan! And happy Thanksgiving, since tomorrow is Thanksgiving in America. Bye-bye.